What is going on, everybody? It's your boy John, and welcome back to GearBocks. So today, obviously, we're back in the WRX. Wanted to give you guys a little bit of kind of a top 5 video like I've done in the past, but this time really wanted to kind of focus on, you know, some things I wish I knew before I started modifying the Subaru WRX platform. Specifically, I guess a little bit to the 2015 to 2020 WRX, generation. What you guys are going to notice is that a lot of these points are going to kind of carry over into a lot of other platforms. But this is at least my experience, with this current car, this current model year, etc., etc. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing I want to touch on this list is the idea that it's not easy whatsoever or affordable to make a mid to high range horsepower WRX build. Now, what do I mean by that? Right now, obviously, when we're talking anything, in the automotive world, whether it's WRXs, Miatas, BMW, Mercedes, whatever, it's going to be expensive, right? Now, the difference is that there are certain platforms that just love to make power fairly easily, and then there's the WRX. So for those who are unaware, as far as my power mods go, really I'm pretty basic. I have a Cobb cold air intake, and I have an HKS super sequential atmospheric blow-off valve, and then this is pro-tuned by SD Racing. Now, what I quickly learned dealing with this platform and talking to the guys at SD Racing and reading forums and watching YouTube videos is, with this platform, for whatever reason, you're always fighting an uphill battle with supporting mods, and part of that goes into the fact that this is a turbocharged car. The turbo's not huge, but you're dealing with oil blow-by, and you're dealing with limitations on the strength of pistons, or blowing head gaskets, or this or that or whatever. And what's really going to help you out in the long run is purchasing supporting mods, such as an air oil separator, or building the top end of your motor, or whatever. But at the end of the day, all that stuff costs money. But at the same time, that's really where you want to be in order to create a decent amount of power. Let's call it 400, 500 plus horsepower on this platform, and not feel like you're going to shoot cylinder 3 out the side of your car when you get above 3,000 RPMs. It's kind of a shitty reality we live in, but it's just that. It's a reality. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. If you're trying to go for 1,000 horsepower drag build or something like that, don't get this car. Do not get this car. If you are looking for a fun, semi-practical sports car that isn't going to break the bank, this is really what you're looking at. There's a lot of different can of worms we could open on just that first point alone, but I'm going to keep it there. If there's anything specifically you have questions on or want to ask about, leave a comment down below. But let's get right on to number 2. The second thing I wish I knew before modifying a Subaru WRX is really just how similar all of these builds become. And I'm not one to sit there and compare myself to someone else or envy someone else in any way, shape, or form. But it naturally happens with these cars. There are only so many different, popular modifications you can put on your car, or exterior pieces, headlights, taillights, front lips, spoilers, whatever, that are going to, in your mind, separate your car from the rest. But the reality is, you know, you've got Joe Schmo over here who's been running that Sabon carbon fiber hood for 5 years. You know, it's kind of an odd spot where, whether you like it or not, a lot of us fall into the same trap that everyone else has fallen into and said, oh, well, I saw this WRX with this piece, and I saw this one with this piece, and maybe I want to marry the two parts together, and well, now I'm going to make my car my own. And hate to break it to you, but someone out there has already beat you to the punch. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think my car is beautiful. I love where my car is at. I would not change it at all. But probably a couple months ago, I was scrolling through Instagram, and I saw a dude who, no shit, like to the point that I DM'd him. I was like, I think you and I built the same fucking car. I mean, outside of a little like brace thing that went through the front grille, same color, same mods, same headlights, same taillights. I mean, it was unbelievable how close these cars look to each other. But at the end of the day, I just chalked it up to, oh, that dude must have nice taste. I mean, what else are you gonna do? But that is something to keep in mind. You know, if you're going for a super unique build, and something that, you know, you're gonna put your artistic touch on, sure, you can do that. But don't be surprised when you see a lot of people doing the same things as you that you thought were unique, and really it's just, you know, par for the course with the platform. Sorry, not sorry. It's how it is, but this is why we're making this video, to inform you guys. On to number 3. So the third thing I want to talk about on today's video, kind of some things I wish I knew before modding this car, is kind of an uplifting thing. And number 3 is going to be that the FA motor, the EJ motor, the 2JZ, the 1JZ, the RB26, whatever, all motors have their shortcomings, okay? It's a mechanical part. Mechanical parts are going to have mechanical failures. That is just a fact. Now, do FAs maybe blow a head gasket more often than some? Sure. But does that mean that every other motor, especially previous generation WRX motors, not have any issues? No, they all have issues. All boxer motors, whether we're talking Subaru, Porsche, Saab, whatever, all motors, all generations talk about oil starvation. That's all a thing. You know what I'm saying? It's all motors are gonna have problems. So don't let, you know, dickhead in the forums or this YouTube channel talking shit about this generation WRX, don't let that get into your head. It's not worth the time to sit there and be like, well, you know, I'm really nervous about modifying my FA20 motor because you know, the second I do anything, it's gonna, no. Enjoy it while you have it. Understand the risks that you are taking by modifying said engine, and kind of back to point 1, try to do as many supporting mods as you physically can to not let that motor blow up like everyone says it will. It's an inherent risk modifying cars. That's it. You can't live in fear, and this goes for life, guys. You cannot live in fear about what could happen and cripple you from doing something that, you know, is ultimately going to give you joy and satisfaction in the, you know, present time, and worry about what's going to happen 6, 9, 12 months down the road, 5 years down the road, whatever, because it's just not worth it. Oh my God, I think I just blew my head gasket. That was a joke. On to number 4. The fourth thing I wish I knew more about before I started modifying this car is just how finicky the transmission is and how hard it is to kind of work around the glass transmission that is in the 2019 WRX. Now, some of you guys might be sitting there saying, well, John, you sound like a total hypocrite. You just told us not to live in fear about the FA20 motor. And you're right. I have not lived in fear, but it is something in the back of my head where, you know, the more that, and once again, I love where my car's at, so I don't necessarily need more power or need to get back on the dyno to do a J-pipe or something like that, but it is something that as I start buying more parts for this car, it's becoming more and more of a, you know, in-your-face type of risk. For those who are unaware, the transmission, and sorry that I don't know the name of the transmission in this car, but the transmission in this car is deemed the glass transmission. A lot of people are going to blow out second and third transmission. Once again, a lot of people who do that don't know what the hell they're doing. But still, it's an inherent risk when you start pushing more power to your transmission, you start getting a more aggressive clutch, and you just start spinning gears in that transmission because it can't handle it. Even if, you know, you go back to point one and you go front mount intercooler, you go a HKS blow-off valve, you go a Cobb air oil separator, Cobb J-pipe, you go single exit exhaust, you go fucking balls to the wall. Guess what, guys? You're still going to run into the fact that this transmission is going to blow up on you, and it's just a fact. So if you have all the money in the world and you want to start building these things, do not skip out on the transmission. It's gonna go. It's just a matter of time. Once again, enjoy it while you can, but don't be surprised when one day you row it into third gear and third gear ain't there no more. On to number 5. So the fifth and final thing I wish I knew about, you know, this community and this car before modding it is just that, the community. I would say overall, the Subaru community, you guys, everyone else out there is great. Every community is gonna have a bad apple or two, and that's just a fact. But what I've noticed about the Subaru community, especially the WRX community, is you're gonna have a couple different types of people, 2 types of people in particular. One, let's start with me. Not that I outwardly broadcast this, but this is the type of Subaru person I am. Okay, we're talking about a fairly affordable 4-door sedan, all-wheel drive, very good looking, decent amount of power, very, very aftermarket, I don't know, whatever. There's a lot of aftermarket support, and I want to build a street build of this car. I drive it on the street, I drive it to and from work, I go get groceries, I might do some spirited driving. I want a street setup. That's one type of person. And I would say that's the majority of the people watching this video, especially with the history of my videos and kind of what we tend to talk about. The people that I'm really referring to are the second type of people. And they are what I would classify as the, well, Subaru WRX, it's World Rally Experimental, it should be a fucking rally car. Why are you lowering it? Why are you not raising it and putting fucking all-terrain tires and actual mud flaps on this thing? Because it's a fucking rally car. Well, Dale, guess what, buddy? I don't drive rally, and nor do I really plan to drive rally. So instead of having this floaty ass suspension and being a Ken Block wannabe, rip, I'm not doing that. And that is what just drives me nuts. Guys, we are all, as a blanket statement, we are all car people. It's the same thing that I would think about, you know, an F-150 person. I just got my F-150 lifted. I think the proper, in my opinion, proper thing to do to a truck is to lift it, put some tires on it if you want it, but lift it, give it more functionality when it comes to towing, when it comes to off-roading, whatever, versus slamming a truck down on some 24-inch chrome wheels and, you know, rubber band tires. Do I agree with that? No, but here's the thing, guys, is that's your car. This is my car. I get to do what I want with it, and, you know, I really don't care about the opinions of others, other than the fact that I wish I could go up to everyone and say, guys, can't we just all get along? We are all fighting on the same team as far as car people go, but we're getting all bitchy and moany about little details here and there. Guys, we are all car people. Do you have to like every single car, truck, whatever that crosses the road? No. But can you at least respect those people for putting the time in, putting the effort in, blood, sweat, and tears, whatever the hell you want to call it, to build that vehicle? That's how it should be, in my opinion, and it's just not. So, anyway, I will get off my box now. But as always, guys, that is going to kind of conclude the list there. If you have any other points you want to bring up and talk about, drop a comment down below. But I really hope you guys appreciated this video. If you are new to modding a WRX and you found this helpful, let me know. If you have any other questions, let me know. This should be a community to help each other out and steer each other in the right direction. So this is kind of the first step in doing that. But as always, guys, if you like the video, please give it a big fat thumbs up, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. You know the drill. And until next time, peace.